everyone. Hi, my name is Tom, and I am not an animator. Thank you. However, people often assume I am because I make a lot of cartoony things on my channel, and that's why I was put on this panel, and that's why all the animators on this panel suggest I be the moderator of this panel instead of someone on it. I would like to introduce to the stage my lovely panelists for today, Rebecca Parham. James Allison. James, you get on your James. James, you odd one out. James Animations, last name redacted. And Adam, what he's something else, YouTube. Hello. Sit down. Jeez. This is fun. Hi everyone, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I didn't organize this event, but I appreciate it. Just a little heads up, we are taking questions with the hashtag VidConLuden animators. So VidConLuden animators, type that in if you can, and throw us some questions. I've been reading through them. I will say a lot of them are garbage, hot, steamy garbage, but I will filter through them and pass them on to these guys. So let's start off with a really easy one, gang.
What's your favorite color? Okay.
How? You know, James, I'm the moderator of this panel. I don't need your answer. What got your start into animation? Like, were you doing other art forms before, or was it just animation from the get-go? Rebecca.
Well, the initial spark came when I was very, very young, like 4 or 5 years old, but I never really pursued animation. It was kind of always an afterthought in the back of my head for the majority of my life. And I was really involved in theater, musical theater, originally wanted to be on Broadway, that kind of thing. And then in college, I decided, hey, I think I'm gonna switch over to animation. So I actually went to animation school, got my BFA in computer animation, and instead of going and doing the smart thing of applying to the major studios like all my friends, I went into business for myself and made YouTube a thing. And now, everything's great.
Yay!
Hey.
So, I like to draw comics in school and not pay attention to the teachers, and that became like my thing. I was the comic kid, and then for my 16th birthday, I got a drawing tablet, and then I started making comics online, and I just sort of grew an audience from there. And then in 2014, I transitioned over to YouTube, and then people kept asking me when the next video was, not when the next comic was, so I sort of spent all my time doing YouTube videos, and now it's 2019. Oh, also I dropped out of college.
Somewhere in the middle there.
People ask me if I like what I majored in because they think it was something artsy and that's what they want to do, but I actually majored in math education. Woo! Because I wanted to be a math teacher for some reason, and then when I was able to make a living and support myself out of YouTube, I just called up my parents one day and I said, hey, I'm like not going to classes because I would rather be making YouTube videos and earning money than not doing that. So they said, okay, you can drop out. And then I moved back in with my parents, but then I moved out again. So now we're at 2019, and that was my life story. So.
I've always been into like drawing and stuff, and like at school I was like the quiet girl who did art as well. And then in junior year of high school, my parents were like, Jaden, you gotta figure out what you want to do for college. I was like, okay. And then they're like, what do you want to do? I was like, I don't know. They're like, you should animate for Pixar. I was like, okay. And then, so I took a 3D animation class, and I hated it. And then I was like, oh, whoops, I guess no Pixar. But that led me into trying 2D animation, and that's like how I got into that. And then I started working for another YouTube channel that hired me to do animations, and they shouldn't have because I hadn't had any experience. But that's when I started my YouTube channel because I could kind of ride the coattails of theirs. And then here I am.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, so what was the question?
Wait, do you have mic 3?
Yeah, I have like a
the
lot
echo
of them.
one.
Hello, hello, hello.
That's great though. You have the most epic voice of everyone on
Oh,
this
heck
panel.
yeah.
So
Very true.
let's go for it.
What was the question?
It was how did you get your start? Like what you know, where did you why do you do this?
So basically, I started on this this little device called a 2DS. I have it right here. It had like this. Oh, I have Pokemon.
You're playing
Black.
Pokemon. What?
Yeah, Pokemon Black too.
Got a Growlithe.
There was an app on it called Flip No Hatina, and I basically just like animated on that for a while, just had fun on it. I built a little bit of an audience on their little website thing, but then it canceled the website because it couldn't make money. But basically, yeah, I started on Flip No Hatina, eventually got a tablet, moved to YouTube, started animating on there, and then boom, we're here now.
Yay. Tom, how'd you get started?
Well, I wanted to be a cartoony boy myself, and I did them on the internet. I didn't know what animation program was, so I animated in Microsoft PowerPoint.
Cool.
For years before I learned that was not how you animate. And eventually I realized that I could just hire animators to animate my stupid ideas, and then someone gets a job and I get a cool video, so hooray! But no, I grew up loving cartoons. I love cartoons so much that it ruined my accent. Like that's dead serious. Like I'm supposed to have like a really nice British accent, but I grew up watching so many American cartoons that this is just how I sound now. Like it's...
Well, I like your accent.
Well, thank you, James. So you all have quite unique styles, although I'm sure there are people online that would argue that you all look the same. So I'm not one of them. No, you all actually have quite unique styles, but obviously you all animate for like the sake of efficiency, because you make these massive 10-minute animations, and so you try to keep your designs quite minimal, but yet they are still quite unique and stand out. So how did you get there? Like, what was the evolution of your styles to get you there? And we can just go down the line, or you can just jump in. You go crazy, guys.
Jump into it.
Okay, I'll start off. Obviously, it was a play to efficiency. I was doing freelance all day when I first started on YouTube, and it was my free time that I was trying to put out YouTube videos. So the want to put out more and more and more, that kind of incited, I need to really simplify this character design to get out more. But I still really love, human proportions, a feeling of weight and depth and balance in a drawing. So it I kind of utilize a lot of, human proportions and very strong storytelling poses in mind, even though it's a relatively simple shape. And I think that just came from my personal preference as an artist and what I personally love to draw and what's easy for me to draw.
Yeah, so thanks, Rebecca. So having like a very simplistic character design will save you a bunch of time, because with animation you have to redraw the person over and over again, and it is very tedious. But another thing that I found, I was drawing some cartoons, as I do, and I was coloring them, and I was just thinking that how monotonous it was, and how that it's like, why am I spending so much time like coloring this? I could probably get other people to color it for me, and then I can save a lot of time, just teach them. So I've brought on a team of people that helps color and do backgrounds, that and also doing some other animated frame-by-frame stuff. And I know not everyone here has a team, but that is a way that I can save time by getting people to do the stuff that is tedious, that other people can, just having a team of people is what I...
And it's still your creative vision,
Yes.
right? And that's because, you're acting as a director in that position. And that's what directors do, is they direct the visual style and they direct the audience's eye. So it's still your vision, even though, James and Jane have staff. So yeah.
That's just to get videos out quicker, because otherwise they would take years to make a video. Yeah.
Yeah. The style. I didn't start with like a specific style. People always say like, oh, how did you develop your art style? And it's like, I don't know, I just did it. I think a lot of people focus too much on art style when it's just like, draw what makes you feel comfortable and also what you like. So I didn't have like a style I was going for. I just like drew the way I wanted to. And then, yeah, eventually videos were being like taking a lot of time, and I was getting like way too overworked with just working by myself, so I reached out to help It took a while to get like a good team going. For a while it was like worse because they were like doing scenes and it was like, it doesn't look good, and I'd have to redo it anyway. But I think the team that I've got right now is really good, and I think the videos have been looking the best they ever have been, and I've also got more free time, so that's good.
It's healthy.
Yeah.
What was the question again?
God, Adam.
Is this gonna happen every time, Adam?
Busy playing Pokemon.
Are we gonna have a problem?
on stage.
It was, something about like how you developed your style, how you found it, You can answer a question. I got others here. What's your favorite dinosaur?
Stegosaurus.
Good choice.
The way I developed my art style is it started off with just a circle stick figure body and eyes. It just started developing because I kind of started taking inspiration from
The odd one's out. Sorry.
Get
I
out.
said the, and I was like,
Get out. Taking inspiration from the shows I like Adventure Time. Really just love their art style. It's super silly. So, that's it. That's all I gotta say.
James, you just touched on, you and Jaden both talked about your teams. I think a lot of people in this audience would be very interested to know like the kind of processes that you guys go through to make a video from like start to finish. And obviously a lot of you all have very different processes. Some of you work solo, some of you work with a team. So whichever of you feel comfortable talking about that, like what's the journey that goes from idea to upload?
all right, well, I don't know how much time we have, so. No, you're right, it is right, okay. What was I saying? So from start to finish, it actually takes longer than a month for a video to be done. So I'm trying out this new thing where I'm like juggling 2 videos at once. So while I'm working on a video, I'll write up a script, record the audio, and then edit the audio. Well, I get someone else to edit it. Anyway, and then while I'm working on another video, I get some storyboarders to storyboard out the video, and then I'll also do some of the storyboards. And then I'll like tell the storyboarders like, no, I don't like this, or yes, I do like this. And then while also I'm still working on a video, then I'll get some background artists to start making the backgrounds, and then hopefully I'll have that video finished, and then I can start working on the next video, and then while I'm doing that, start writing the script up for the next video. It's just, and so it just takes a lot of time. And then I, draw the pictures. So it's like, it's script, audio, storyboard, backgrounds, characters, upload.
Is it roughly, what does that make it, 3 videos roughly in production?
No, it's like 2.
Okay.
So it's like I finish one, then I have another one, then when I finish one, then I'm like halfway through the next one. So, yeah.
So for what I do is I take a day to write a script, and then I have like friends edit it and be like, oh, you should add this one. And it's like, yeah, that actually makes it funny. And then I'll record it and have someone edit the audio because it's a long process and editing audio is really boring. And then while that's happening, I'll write a task list. So what happens is like, I'll say like from frame 1 to 200, that's when the Jaden is walking down the street or something. And then so when I send the whole task list of the video, the animators will know like, oh, this scene is Jaden walking down the street, so I'll storyboard that. And so we have like different categories, like one person will grab the storyboard and another person will do the keyframes and one person will do the in-betweens. So it's like a process. So every scene, like 3 different people have worked on it. And I do like storyboards and in-betweens. Storyboards and keyframes. I don't really do the in-betweens, but that's the process and then near the end, when it's just in-betweeners kind of thing, I'll work on the next video. So it's
Juggling.
cycle.
Yeah.
It's a lot of juggling.
Adam and I just wing it.
That's fair. Yeah, well, you talked a bit about keyframes. So these are like technical terms within animation. So who wants to explain animation to our lovely crowd here? Go on, Adam.
Yeah. Don't ask the person who has a BFA in animation how to explain animation. Let's do that. Sure. No, absolutely. Animation. So in animation, you have incredibly important poses in what you're doing, and that can be like
Wow.
Yeah, demonstration. So if I'm trying to have a character point off screen about something, I think a keyframe would be here, and then a keyframe would be here. So it goes pop, pop, and in-betweens are what you do in between those frames to get the timing right. So if I have a lot of frames, it's going to be a much slower action. If I have a short amount of frames, it's going to be very quick. And it all depends on what kind of acting you want. So you have people who are going to be planning out the most important poses, this to this, like what Jaden does. And then you have other animators come in, and they're the ones that kind of fill in the gaps with this timing right here. So that's what we're talking about when we say keyframes and in-betweens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's my favorite type of in-between. Oh, thank you for the demonstration. Great. Well, we can pause.
Thank you.
And everyone's favorite kind of in-between, the smear frame, which people love to pause the video on and say, I found a mistake because he's got 5 eyes. When in reality, that's just a little cheeky trick to make it
I dropped my goggles.
appear that there's
Grab
more
them.
frames. They're gone now.
A smear frame is basically a frame that tries to replicate like motion blur
Exactly.
from a camera, you know?
If you watch like old Looney Tunes shorts, especially the Chuck Jones shorts, it's full of smear frames. Chuck Jones was the one who really made it popular and implemented it. So really, it's just how you use them that matters. You know, not every animation out there with smear frames is going to be great. But yeah.
Okay, here's a question that I have seen a lot asked, obviously in this hashtag, and also I know that we all will get anyway, even I, a non-animator, which was also a lot of the questions were, why are you here, Tom? But the question is, what do you use to animate? And I think when people say that, they're looking for you to tell them what program you asked to make your cartoons for you. But like, what programs do you guys personally use on your computery machines to get through your projects?
Adobe Animate.
Well, okay, I was going to explain something a little bit longer, but here's a little tip for all of the people that are trying to learn. You can find a lot of information about what a YouTuber does in their About page or their frequently asked question page. There's okay.
Oh, well, thank you.
Well, so it's just, I get asked this a lot, and I'm just like, check my About page. So Tom, remember how you said that you animated in PowerPoint? It's kind of what I do. I draw everything out in this one program called Paint Tool Sci, and then animate it, and then in Adobe Premiere. So it's very much still a slideshow, and everyone else uses Flash, which is the more proper animation program. So that is what I would recommend. It would be Flash, not what I use.
It's not the tool, it's the end product.
That's another thing, is that people always think that like, oh, I need the same equipment that this person uses because that will make my videos better. It's like, it's not, the equipment we use isn't what makes the videos good. It's like it's us that make the videos good.
It's like if you have a calculator, like you could use the most rinky-dink calculator to do anything, but if you have like a giant scientific calculator, but you don't know any of the functions, it's like, nah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, speaking of, getting a start and people thinking they need the same equipment as you to make videos, that's always something that's really never been true, you know. If by the time you're watching us, the technology has already advanced enough that the stuff that you can start on is better than any of us had. So it's like, while you can't recommend any particular programs to people beginning out, are there any tips that you would give people who are just now trying to start out making cartoons or even drawing maybe?
Just do it. Just practice.
Also look at tutorials online.
Yeah, tutorials are great, but I tell everybody, and this is a very famous quote by a Disney artist, Walt Stanchfield, I think. He says, everyone has 10,000 bad drawings in them, and it's important to get them out as soon as possible. So you will fill mountains of sketchbooks with bad drawings before you start to get comfortable with your ability. So just get through those 10,000 bad drawings. That's how you start.
I'm still working on the 10,000. Well, yeah. That's. I always tell people that I've heard people say that they want